Okay, so we are being broadcasted. Thank you. Any questions before we get started for CSLB staff?
You're going to have to speak up a bit. There are a few older people in the room.
I think it'll be better if I sit in front of the microphone.
Thank you.
Welcome to today's strategic planning session. Okay. Sorry here, technical difficulties. There you go. I'm one of your facilitators. I'm Elizabeth Cornell. I'm a strategic planner and facilitator at the Department of Consumer Affairs, and I'm here with my co-facilitator.
My name is Tricia St. Clair, and I'm also strategic planner and facilitator.
We are here as a neutral party. We're here to guide you all in the development of your strategic plan. So we're here to provide structure to the meeting, but you all are the experts. You all are the ones that are going to develop the specific objectives that will go into your strategic plan. We are here, there's two of us. One will be facilitating while the other one will be typing up the ideas or the specific objectives that you all are offering. So you'll see us switch places throughout the day. And lastly, if you see any misspelling, any grammatical errors, we will get to them, we will fix them. Our purpose today is to get through all of the goal areas and document the objectives that you're all developing today. And we do ask for your participation to minimize any distractions. So if you do have any phones on you, thank you. If you do have any phones on you, if you can please put them silent or vibrate. If you do have to take an important call, please step outside as to not interrupt the other board members, other participants. We do ask to respect one another's contributions. We all have different experiences, perspectives, and backgrounds. They're all valid, and they all help develop an effective strategic plan and strategic objectives. We do ask that you self-monitor. We will be guiding you. We'll be setting timers for each of the goal areas. I'll cover that in just a moment. And we do ask that you limit side conversations. Those could also be disruptive, and we can miss out on possibly great objectives that you may be discussing with someone else. And lastly, be willing to reach consensus. We have quite a few of you here, and we may not specifically get an objective up there that is sitting 100% well with you, but we do ask that you reach consensus and with other board members and their perspectives. There you go. So for today's agenda, let me face the PowerPoint here. So we did our introductions. We'll go through a strategic planning overview, a quick overview. We will do a quick overview of your mission, vision, and values. Very important to read those and understand them in order to develop objectives that will help accomplish those mission, vision, values. We will quickly review the goal area statements before going into developing objectives for that specific goal area. The objectives should really reflect the goal itself and really accomplish the goal. The goal will help accomplish those mission, vision, and values. So we're going to develop, or you, I apologize, will develop objectives for the 5 goal areas, and I apologize, that's a little small there, but it's licensing and testing, enforcement, legislation, public affairs, and executive, which is administration and technology. So we'll do a quick strategic planning overview. Where is the board now? That is in your mission statement. And it's also in the environmental analysis that was provided to you. We did an environmental scan, so we surveyed different stakeholder groups and got their feedback in regards to the board's performance in each of its goal areas and also regarding the environment in which the board operates in. So the environmental scan will help you understand where you are now as a board. Where you're going, that's your vision statement that you have already established. And what's going to help you as a board get to that vision is by your goal areas, which are already established, and also objectives that you will establish today. So to demonstrate the importance of a strategic plan, we have an activity for you. There is a handout in front of you. It might be underneath another packet that looks like this, but the handout is scrambled numbers on a white piece of paper. Okay, so the activity, once I say go, is to, with a pen or a pencil, just use the part that doesn't have the lead or the ink, tap starting from number 1, tap all the way up to the highest number in a consecutive manner, to the highest number that you can reach. And the number 1, I'll give you a clue, it's the top left corner, that's your number 1. So I'm gonna give you 30 seconds and I'll say go, and we'll see how far you can reach. So go. Okay, that is 30 seconds. Raise your hand if you would like to share, if you think you got the highest number from the room. Or you can just shout it out. 11, okay, thank you. Anyone else would like to share? No? Okay. So I'm going to show you the strategy. There's a strategy to it. There's a grid, there's different boxes here. Number 1, you'll find in box number 1. Number 2, you'll find in box number 2. You go on until you reach number 10, which will be found in box number 1, 11, which is box number 2, and you go on consecutively from left to right. Now that you know the strategy, I'm going to give you another 30 seconds, and you can start again. Are there any questions before?
Explain the concept. I'm not understanding what we're doing.
The activity? Yes. The first time I gave you 30 seconds to find the numbers on the page. They're all scrambled up. So the point is that you find the numbers in a consecutive manner. So you find number 1, number 2, number 3 as fast as you can in order, and see how high you get in 30 seconds. That was the first try, but now I'm giving you the strategy. I'm giving you the secret, which is this grid. And now that you know where you can find the numbers, locate them, you can find 1 in number 1, 2 number 2, and so on. Number 10 will be in box number 1, 11 box number 2, and you go on. Any question? No? Okay, so I'm going to give you another 30 seconds. Now, go. Okay, 30 seconds up. 38. Was that an improvement from the first time you did it? 10 the first time. You've done it before. Okay, so the point of the exercise, if you did it the first time and the second time, I noticed that you had a significantly larger number. The point of the exercise is strategic planning is like this grid. It's the secret, it's a strategy for you to be able to organize your efforts and your time, your efficiency, your effectiveness. When you don't have a strategic plan, when you just have a lot of fires to put out, when you have a lot of things to do without any real priority, you have this messy situation where you're just going to start putting out fires. It's taking longer time. You don't know your priorities. But with the strategic plan, it's going to help guide those efforts to effectively accomplish your mission. So the roadmap, so CSLB has started the strategic planning process a couple months ago. It went through a preliminary process where our facilitators met with a CSLB executive team to establish a tailored strategic planning process for the board. Then the environmental scan was conducted, stakeholders were surveyed, board members interviewed, executive staff interviewed, and staff and management were surveyed as well. Today, we're at the planning session where you're going to use that environmental analysis, and hopefully you all have had the opportunity to review the summaries, to develop objectives based on any weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that you saw in the environmental scan. And then afterwards, we will draft the strategic plan and send it to the executive team for review. Then the strategic plan will be presented to you at another board meeting for review. edits if needed, and approval. Any questions? No? Okay, so the SWOT analysis really quickly, when we say that we surveyed, we did the environmental scan, that we surveyed stakeholders, we basically asked them these questions. We asked them what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses in each of the goal areas. So internally evaluating the board's performance, how the board is doing. And then we asked for opportunities and threats. So anything that's going on in the environment outside of the board's control that may impact the board. And those were opportunities and threats. So as you review your scan, you'll have a couple minutes to look at it before each of the goal areas. Keep those in mind. The strengths and weaknesses, again, are internal performance, and opportunities and threats, those are external indicators of what's going on outside in the environment. So the environmental scan this time around in 2021, we had 422 participants, and 2018 we had 917 participants. So here's the breakdown. The environmental scan also has a detailed breakdown of who participated. And now I'm going to display the mission statement. Take a moment to review the mission statement. Again, it's going to help guide your objectives for today. Do you need additional time? No? Okay. And here is the vision statement. That's where you want to go. And lastly, the values. How you're going to do it. Okay, any more time? No? So when developing the objectives, we ask or we recommend that they're SMART objectives. And what we mean by SMART is specific. So remember, as board members, as the executive team here, these are directions for CSLB staff. So be specific. What exactly do you want staff to do? And the management team and the executive team. They should be measurable, something that can be measured when it has been accomplished. Action-oriented uses action words. The last sheet of the handout that was provided to you has a list of action words if you need a little bit of inspiration. They should be realistic, so they should be attainable. And lastly, time-based. Typically, we see with strategic plans, a lot of the objectives don't have a specific time frame because they follow the length of the strategic plan, which typically is 3 to 5 years. However, there's the exceptions of those specific objectives that are crucial or urgent that need to be accomplished by a specific year for whatever reason, or specific date for a specific reason, whether it's to follow any other pending items out there. So in those situations, we do encourage a specific date. So now with the SMART objective method and a formula that we have to help guide you, it's not required that you follow the formula, but we do encourage it because it helps develop very clear objectives. So the formula is up here, as you can see it, action word plus the issue or the ultimate goal and the reasoning or the benefit of that specific objective. So I'm going to read off the first one. Create, that's the action. And the issue is an expert witness manual for subject matter experts, and the benefit is to increase the effectiveness of reports. So the action word is really important and should be an action for staff to take, create a manual. One thing that I would like to point out is we have seen a lot of strategic plan objectives that say they have more passive review, evaluate with no real action in them. So we do encourage, if it's possible, to add action words like review and create, review and consider, and have something that is at the end accomplishable. So we're going to get started here in just a couple seconds, but for each goal area, you will have a moment to review the goal statement. You'll be given 3 minutes to review the summaries from your environmental scan. You will be given 40 minutes per goal area, so we can finish at least by 4 hours, if not before. If you all are quicker than that, we might be getting out of here earlier, but we're allotting 40 minutes per goal area. Again, it depends on when you're done providing objectives for us to document here. We do recommend 3 to 6 objectives per goal area to help maintain that strategic plan attainable. And lastly, I'm sorry, I had this up here, but let me confirm with CSLB here. Public comment is going to be requested at the end of each goal area. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Any questions? No? So we'll get started with licensing and testing. Here is the statement, the mission of this specific goal area. The summaries are on pages 3 and 4. So we'll give you 3 minutes to review and jot down any specific issues you would like to address in the strategic plan. Any questions? No. Thank you. Our 3 minutes are up. Did you need more time? No? And if we can get the attention up here. Thank you. So just wanted to point out a few things. You have a white index card in front of you. If you would like to provide your objective in a written form and give it to Trisha here, who will be typing up the objectives, feel free to do so. Or or if you would like to just verbally say your objective or the issue you would like to see up here, you can do so as well. You do have 2 index cards as well. It helps us to be able to determine whether you're ready to move on from a specific objective. Red means I'm not ready. Green means yes, I'm ready to move on. Just helps us gauge whether you're ready to move on from a specific objective. Next item I would like to cover is the specific strategic objectives should really be covering addressing issues, especially issues that were found, let's say, in the environmental scan, and not daily tasks. So day-to-day tasks that are done and have been done for years, those typically aren't found in the strategic plan. We want to make sure they address specific items, and once they're accomplished, checked off. So when you have your new strategic plan, you have new items that you're addressing. And lastly, when we do call on you to speak, please speak clearly, slowly, and loudly so we can capture correctly your objectives. So we will get started here on our, thank you. We set the timer for 40 minutes, so we're setting aside 40 minutes for each goal area, and we will switch the screen here in a moment. Okay. Can we get it out for presentation? Well, out of presentation.
Oh, out of presentation?
Yes. Okay, so who would like to contribute the first objective? Yes. At this time, you had a few minutes to review the summaries for the first goal area, which is licensing and testing. Do you have any objectives that you would like to add for the strategic plan? And if you can please raise your hand so there's not confusion. Ms. Teicher?
Okay, so would an example be of, we're using this worksheet to say we should continue automating and streamlining all licensing processes to better customer service, lower cost, and continue increasing our reliability?
That is a great example. And if you can please repeat that clearly, slowly, and loudly for.
That's the challenge of this thing. Okay, let's see. So the verb would be. So I guess what just to make.
Correct. From the summaries, you selected the items that should be addressed. Thank you. And Board Chair? No, at this time, just whoever would like to contribute one, you can raise your hand and contribute an objective. Together, everyone will make any refinements, if you would like to make any refinements or changes, and then we move on to the next suggestion. Thank you. Yeah, well, in a orderly fashion, please. Yes, thank you. Thank you, that is correct.
So the action, am I on?
Yes, do you have another objective?
To establish, and what would be a pipeline or awareness of the why is a lot of construction management programs in various UC systems. And none of those UC students are necessarily looking at licensing as a way to advance their career. And creating a pipeline, establishing a pipeline of awareness that licensing doesn't necessarily mean you need a contract. It means that you add this to your portfolio of being a better construction manager or advancing in your company.
So that is to enhance professional development, portfolio?
Oh, she's typing.
We want our parts.
I apologize. So which one are you on? I apologize.
We typed up what you said, which is establish a pipeline awareness, and we were trying to figure out the why, which is,
And the why is there's a lot of students taking construction management in the industry. And they're not looking at being a licensed contractor per se to
thank you. So what we captured here, to assist students advance their careers through licensing. Okay,
Do you want to include the word construction management in there somewhere?
okay. To assist construction management students. Any other suggestions for this objective? So again, the objective, are you able to see it clearly up here, or would you like us to increase the font size? You can see it? Okay, so it's establish a pipe, and we'll go back to the first objective in just a moment. So the second objective is to establish a pipeline awareness to assist construction management students advance their careers through licensing. Thank you. Any refinements, any objectives? Any objectives, any?
On number one, I think it's good
It can, if,
licensing.
I appreciate that. If we can, please just make sure that we're done with objective number 2, and then we can go back to number 1. Thank you. Any additional suggestions for objective number 2, or are you all okay with having that on the strategic plan? So green cards, that means go, yeah?
So I have a question. So of the survey, there's a lot of like licensing and testing weaknesses. And we're trying to figure out ways to strategically tackle some of those weaknesses, correct?
Correct.
So just from everyone saying there's the licensing process is too lengthy and the renewal process. So that, I think Mary highlighted the first continuous to help with that streamlining process. Is there any other ones here that we need to kind of focus on? Any recommendations from staff?
Yes, and we will,
If I read this correctly, I believe that's the objectives are there. They took the strengths and they took the weaknesses, and those were then put in the objectives. And then we'll just basically see what we'll do for everyone.
That's,
To meet these goals here.
that's my thought, right? So is that correct?
mhm.
So if it's not in here, then we're not utilizing any of this information at all?
Correct. This is what you have up here is the strategic plan that you all are going to develop. The environmental scan is a resource for you to use. It's the environmental scan is not the strategic plan. It's just a resource for you if you would like to move any of that into your strategic plan and address any of the issues or use any of the suggested objectives.
So my question is for staff, then, is there anything on this weaknesses here that we as a board should maybe target?
Thank you for the question. I will make sure that we move in an orderly fashion. So the second objective, no additional refinements, correct? And we'll move to the first objective. And Miss, I don't have your name. Yes. Thank you. You had a suggestion for the first objective?
Oh, yeah, I think licensing is going to consider.
Okay, thank you. So continue automating and streamlining all licensing process to provide better licensee service at a lower cost with higher reliability. Thank you. Any additional refinements to the first objective? It's good with everyone?
It will create with public and maybe parentheses with public affairs.
Just before we proceed, I just want to address what Michael said.
Yes.
So I appreciate the comment.
Thank you. So now that we've clearly moved on from the first and second objectives, we'll move on to the next suggestion. Please continue.
The public,
Can I offer a friendly amendment or maybe?
Please do.
Edit? So I guess I feel like a first step would be to assess what are the barriers to women and minority contractors becoming licensed. Because I think we certainly have a common interest in promoting further women and minorities being contractors.
and this is just brainstorming. We're just throwing ideas up and then we'll vote on whatever ones we want. Correct? Oh.
Yes.
Okay, so, in the order we're having them, the objectives, because that's kind
Going towards a discussion point.
yeah, there should be discussion like this as to what's more important. I mean, you want us to generate them all, we have them here. Do we agree with these? Do we need to add to these? Refine these? You know, like add to them and then put them up there and then discuss it.
Right. In the past, we didn't specifically put the suggested objectives into the environmental scan, and that may also be a point of confusion. The planning sessions, typically, the board members develop objectives. They put it up on the screen here. We put them up on the screen. These are objectives to be placed in your strategic plan, your formal strategic plan. We don't vote on each objective. The voting happens when after all of this brainstorming has finished and the strategic plan has been drafted by us, by your suggestions today. We provide it to the executive team. They make small grammatical edits. The the strategic plan is then brought to you to the next board meeting where you all can review it for any final details, any very small refinements, and then you can approve it. And yes, in the past, we have done some different activities. We are in a crunch for time today. We only were allotted 4 hours. Typically, we do ask for about 8 hours for strategic planning. But so we want to make sure that you all have the opportunity to not only contribute objectives for a group discussion amongst all. If we do activities per group, there's a chance that there might be some repetition, some repetitive objectives out there, and that takes time.
So after, like David said, so out of the six, we prioritize which ones we feel are most important, let's stay with the six.
If you would like to prioritize it as in the strategic plan by listing it in order, that's okay. We typically just recommend 3 to 6 objectives. And our thought is that you're going to accomplish your entire strategic plan. So they're all. Mhm.
So is this brainstorming right now?
It is brainstorming your, let's say, final strategic plan. You'll approve it in the next board meeting.
I know, but I thought I heard you say we're gonna be doing grammatical changes. And I guess to Nancy's point, we're gonna
Okay, so I'm going to repeat the instructions. We have new instructions. Okay, if I can get everyone's attention. So our new activity, we've changed the format. So if I can get your attention, please. So the new format will be for each group to develop the top 2 objectives, or you don't have to do it in this specific format. If you just come up with 2 objectives that the board should accomplish in the next couple of years, 3 to 5 years. Priority, take a look at the summaries if that helps. If any of the specific suggested objectives looks good to you, you can write that down. We do ask them if you can write them down. So we'll go by table. You can either read it off to us, or if you prefer, you can bring the paper to, or I can pick up the paper and I'll have Trisha type it up for you. Any questions about the new instructions? And this is how we're going to do it throughout the day.
How much time for each table?
Thank you. How many minutes do you think you'll need? 10 minutes? Okay. So we'll start the timer now. Time warning, you have 2 minutes left. We will come back in 2 minutes. At this moment, if you're done, if you would like me to pick up your objectives, raise your hand.
After we finish this.
And we'll get started here shortly. We're typing up the objectives that we received. So bear with us. Thank you.